How to spot a liar in 5 seconds. Have you ever sat across from someone telling a story and deep inside your head an alarm bell kept ringing? Something doesn't add up. You sense the cracks, but you can't prove it. You don't have a lie detector in your pocket, and let's be honest, not everyone is going to major in psychology just to decode human behavior. But here's the good news. You don't need fancy gadgets or years of training. Just a handful of simple techniques, and you'll be able to tell when someone is bending the truth or spinning a tale. The best part? These tricks are so easy you can use them in everyday conversations, at school, at work, or even during a casual chat with a friend. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 9 powerful ways to spot a liar in just seconds. They aren't complicated, but they're surprisingly effective. Even if the person is an Oscar-worthy actor, or the partner you think you know best, apply these at the right moment and you'll catch the subtle cracks. So, are you ready? Let's start with the first and most revealing sign. The eyes. Because if the mouth can act, the eyes can't keep secrets. When someone lies, their body often betrays them unconsciously, and the eyes are usually the first to betray. One of the most telling signs? Blinking patterns. Normally, a person blinks 15 to 20 times per minute. But when lying, the nervous system gets overloaded, producing 2 very different reactions. Some people blink rapidly, like dust had just blown into their eyes. Others freeze completely. Their eyes turn still, almost lifeless, barely blinking at all. It's as if their brain has pressed pause while scrambling to assemble the story. Here's how you catch it. Don't just watch while they're talking. Wait a few seconds after they answer a question. If their blinking suddenly becomes abnormal, too fast, too slow, or frozen, consider that your first red flag. And here's the real giveaway. If just moments ago they were blinking normally, relaxed, and suddenly after answering, they look frozen or strangely intense, that sudden shift is the body's way of leaking the truth. Because here's the timeless rule. Eyes don't lie. If you know when and how to look, they'll tell you a story far truer than their words ever could. There's something even professional liars rarely control. Microexpressions, fleeting flashes of raw emotion that slip through before the brain has time to put on the mask. They last less than half a second, but in that instant, the truth shows itself. Think about this. You bomb a test, and your mom asks, "So, was it easy?" Your mouth says, "Yes, Mom, it was fine," but your face crumples just enough for her to know you're lying. That tiny crack in the facade is all it takes. Liars are the same. They might be calm, smiling, even confident. But in that sliver of a moment, you'll see it. A flash of fear in the eyes, a micro frown, or the corner of the mouth twisting down. The truth slips out before it's buried again. Here's a powerful trick. When someone tells you a story that feels suspicious, don't confront them immediately. Instead, repeat part of their story back to them in a casual way. For example, "Wait, so you're saying you lost your wallet while you were asleep in class?" Watch carefully, right in the split second after your words sink in. Do their eyes flicker with worry? Does their face tighten for just a heartbeat? Even the briefest hesitation can betray them. If the microexpression doesn't match the confident words they just said, you've caught a lie in action. Now, you might not notice it the first time. That's normal. These signals are lightning fast. But once you train your eye to catch them, you'll be amazed at how often they appear. This is why psychologists, investigators, and even police interrogators rely on microexpressions. Because no matter how polished the lie, the face will always whisper the truth. And here's where you can add your own edge. Don't just observe once. If the story continues, throw in small, neutral confirmations like, really? Or oh, interesting. Each time, watch for that split-second flicker. You're not interrogating, you're listening, but their own face will do the confessing for them. The truth always leaks out, it just does it in whispers, not shouts. One of the simplest but most brutal ways to spot a liar is this. Make them tell the story twice. Here's how it works. The first time you just nod along. Aha, I see. Don't challenge anything. Let them feel safe. But a few minutes later, bring the story back up. Only this time, change one tiny detail. For example, if they originally said, "I lost my phone at 4 p.m., you casually drop in, "Oh yeah, that was around 3 p.m., right?" Now pay close attention. If the person is telling the truth, they'll immediately correct you. "No, it was 4, not 3. Who said 3? Because they're just recalling a memory that's actually there. But if they're lying, suddenly things get messy. They hesitate, they stumble. Sometimes they even agree with your wrong detail, because they don't actually remember their own made-up timeline. That's the curse of lying. The brain has to invent, rehearse, and maintain a script. But when you slip in a single false thread, their whole web starts to unravel. And here's the key. Watch their body language during this trap. Do they scratch their head as if digging for details? Touch their nose, lick their lips, or freeze like their brain just crashed? Suddenly look away or stall before answering? These are signs their mind is working overtime, not to recall the truth, but to keep the lie alive. It's like forcing someone to juggle while blindfolded. The more balls they try to keep in the air, the more likely one will fall. Now be careful. Don't overdo it. If you turn every conversation into a courtroom, people will catch on. But when used sparingly, this retell trap is one of the fastest ways to expose cracks in a story. Because real memories flow naturally. Lies need editing, and the more editing required, the easier it is to spot the glitch. Now we come to one of the sharpest weapons in lie detection: the backwards story test. It may sound a little cruel, but if you want to break a liar's script, this is the ultimate move. Here's why. When someone recalls a real event, it's stored in memory like a movie clip. You can play it forward, and if needed, you can rewind it. Ask them to tell the story backwards, and they'll still be able to walk you through it. What happened last, what happened before that, and so on. But when someone invents a story, it's usually created in a straight line. First this happened, then that happened. They're narrating a script, not recalling a memory. And when you suddenly ask them to rewind that script, their brain crashes. You'll see it instantly. Long pauses, repeated words, contradictions slipping through. Or they suddenly forget key details they swore by just minutes ago. And here's another sign. Liars often slow down when forced to backtrack. Their sentences lose rhythm. They might avoid eye contact, sigh heavily, or shift in their seat as if they're reloading the story in their mind. But the truth? That story never existed. They're trying to reassemble an illusion while you're asking them to play it in reverse. It's a brutal test, yes, but it exposes lies with ruthless efficiency. Because the truth can be told both ways. A lie only works one way. If you ever suspect someone is spinning fiction, gently challenge them with a reverse retelling. It won't take long before the mask starts to slip. Sometimes you don't need to study the eyes or the body at all. The giveaway is hidden right in their words. Here's the thing. When people are innocent, they tend to answer simply and directly. Ask them a question and they'll say, "No, I didn't do that." Short. Clear. Done. But liars? They often feel the need to dress their words up. They start with phrases like, "To be honest, I'd never do that. Honestly speaking, let me explain. The truth is, I swear on everything." See the problem? They're framing the truth in layers of unnecessary packaging. It's like putting a small trinket in a giant gift box. Something doesn't feel right. And here's another classic tactic: over-talking. When someone lies, silence feels dangerous. So, they keep talking, adding extra details, side stories, little distractions, to make their version sound more believable. Imagine this. Instead of simply saying, "I was home at 4, they go on. "I was home at 4 p.m. The sun was setting, the neighbor's dog barked twice, and I was wearing my blue t-shirt that I got last summer at the mall." Sounds convincing, right? But that overload of detail often signals the opposite. It's not clarity, it's camouflage. And if you push just a little, liars may even repeat your question before answering. Why? Because they're stalling for time. Your words buy their brain an extra second to edit the script. So here's the rule. Truth is usually short, sharp, and solid. Lies are often long, dressed up, and wobbly. If you feel like someone is giving you too much, too many disclaimers, too many details, too much effort, it might not be the truth they're serving. It might be smoke. Something is unsettling about a story that sounds too flawless. Real life is messy, random, awkward, and rarely wrapped up in perfect detail. But liars? They love to polish their lies until they sparkle like a Hollywood script. Here's the danger. Some people don't just lie, they produce. They add scenery, props, and even sound effects until their story feels like it's been staged for the big screen. They'll say things like, "Yeah, it was exactly 4:02 p.m. The clouds looked like dinosaurs. The taxi driver had Doraemon stickers on his sunglasses, and the background music at the cafe was Coldplay's Fix You. Sounds vivid. Too vivid. Because when someone overloads a story with cinematic details, they're trying to sell you the illusion. And it's not just the details. Listen closely to the phrases they repeat. I swear I'm telling the truth. I'm serious, no joke. Honestly, you have to believe me. The more they insist, the more suspicious it gets, especially if you never accuse them in the first place. It's like someone defending themselves before you've even asked the question. Why? Because deep down, they know their story can't stand on its own. This is what I call the overtelling syndrome. Liars believe the more they add, the safer they are. But in reality, the overpolished surface is exactly what betrays them. Because let's face it, reality rarely comes packaged in HD perfection. The rough edges, the forgotten details, the small inconsistencies, that's what makes a story real. So the next time a story feels too neat, too colorful, too perfectly aligned, don't get dazzled. Instead, ask yourself, is this a memory or is this a performance? We've all heard the saying, people can lie with words but not with their body. And it's true. No matter how well someone rehearses their story, the body has a way of leaking the truth. When someone lies, their body often betrays them through small, unconscious movements. These are signals they don't even realize they're sending. Watch closely. A liar might scratch their head or touch their face, fiddle with their hair, rub their nose or lips, shift awkwardly in their seat. These gestures aren't random. They're the body's way of releasing the tension that comes from hiding something. On the other hand, sometimes you'll see the opposite. Complete stillness. The hands suddenly freeze, the posture stiffens, the body locks up like a statue. Why? Because the person is overcompensating, trying too hard to control every movement. And then there's the eyes again. Think back to school, when the teacher asked a tough question and you weren't prepared. Where did your eyes go? Probably down at your desk or off to the side. The same thing happens when people lie. They avoid your gaze, not because they're shy, but because deep down they're afraid of being exposed. So here's the paradox. Too much movement can signal deception. Too little movement can do the same. The key is to notice the change. If someone was relaxed and natural a moment ago, but suddenly grows stiff, fidgety, or avoids your eyes when the tough question lands, that's your clue. Because the body doesn't know how to lie as smoothly as the tongue does. So there you have it. 9 powerful tricks to spot a liar in just seconds. From the eyes that blink too much or not at all, to the microexpressions that flash like lightning across the face, to the retell trap that exposes shaky details, the backward story test that shatters a fake script, the language that overcompensates with too many words, the too perfect story that feels staged, and the body language that leaks the truth when the mouth refuses to. Put all of these together and you now have a full arsenal to detect deception anywhere. At work, with friends, even with strangers on the street. But here's the warning. Don't become obsessed. If you start applying these tricks in every single conversation, you'll turn into Sherlock Holmes in the eyes of everyone around you. And while that sounds cool, it also makes people uncomfortable. Nobody wants to feel like they're constantly under investigation. Remember, sometimes people fidget because they're nervous, not because they're lying. Sometimes they talk too much simply because they're excited, not because they're hiding the truth. So use these tools wisely. They're not meant to make you suspicious of everyone. They're meant to protect you in situations where clarity matters. Think of them like radar. You don't keep it on high alert all day, but when something feels off, you tune in and let the signals guide you. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to catch every little lie. The goal is to see through deception when it matters most, so you can make better decisions, protect yourself, and know who you can truly trust. So now you know, the eyes that freeze, the face that flickers, the words that overcompensate, and the body that can't keep secrets. With these 9 tricks, you're no longer defenseless against deception. You've trained your perception to catch what others miss. But here's the final truth. Sometimes the most dangerous liar isn't the stranger across the room. It's the friend you thought you knew, the colleague you trusted, or even the little voice inside yourself that doesn't want to face reality. Learning to see lies clearly also means learning to value truth deeply. So, the next time someone spins you a story that feels too polished, too defensive, or just off, remember, you have the tools. You don't need a lie detector. Your eyes, ears, and intuition are sharper than you realize. And now, it's your turn. If you found these insights useful, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'd love to hear from you. Do you have your own trick for spotting a liar? Drop it in the comments below. Let's build a toolbox of truth together. Because in a world full of noise, the ability to spot a lie is more than just a skill. It's power. And now that power is in your hands. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I truly value your support and presence here. Your encouragement means the world and gives me the motivation to keep creating more meaningful content. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe so that we can continue this journey together. I look forward to having you with me in the next video.